I used to think when I was younger, man, because I started late with females, that I was an incel. This is something that I really don't talk about too much, but it's the truth. I used to really think I was an incel. Because I was a guy that, I had a lot of experiences with the opposite sex, but I wasn't necessarily getting what I wanted. And I was like around 18, 19 years old at the time, And I used to see my friends and they would be just telling me all these stories about how they was doing this and that with women and stuff like that. And I'm just like, you know, I'm out of high school, and I haven't even lost my virginity yet, you know? And that was a big secret that I kept to myself, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want none of my homies to know that. But deep down, I felt hella insecure. I felt like, man, like, why is it that I'm still a virgin at 18 some years old? Mind you, I had females in high school that had, a little crush on me, or maybe thought I was cute or whatever, but it never manifested into me actually getting down with any of them. And I would always wonder why, and then you fall into this dark wormhole of scourging the internet on why certain, females don't like me, or am I ugly, or do they not like me? You know what I'm saying? You go through that little wormhole of just dissecting every little aspect of yourself. And then you come to the conclusion after a while, like, shit, I guess I'm an incel. You know what I'm saying? I guess I'm a subhuman man. And this trap, I feel like a lot of guys that was like myself, aka late bloomers, experience, because the timeline of events that a lot of men think things are going to happen don't happen. Not every guy is following the same schedule, the same rubric, the same timeline. Every man is going to experience certain things in life at different stages, at different points in their life. So I had to realize that just because my homies was having their way and I really wasn't, doesn't mean that I wasn't a guy that couldn't. At the time, I was focused on really getting my life in order. I wasn't going out partying and drinking. I mean, I didn't really have any like feet. I didn't have no hoes. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have no hoes. I was a guy that had, some female friends scattered in there, but I wasn't a guy that had a roster. I was a simple, just a regular black dude. You know what I'm saying? Was never a bad looking dude, but I just never had my way like that. And I used to always think it was because I was an incel. And then I realized as time progressed, things are all about timing. My focus wasn't about partying and going out every weekend. My focus was really school at the time. My focus was working my job. My focus was just trying to go to straight and narrow. And my homies was on the same timing too, but they had a little leeway. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had the best of both worlds, I guess. You know what I'm saying? They was working, they had their own car. Yeah, they was in school too, but they had the curricular activities on the side that I wasn't experiencing. So they was able to bounce back and forth between the two. Me, on the other hand, all I had really was just school and work and just my car, and living with my parents at the time. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, since I wasn't really getting none, at the time I was a virgin. So, when I felt the urge, I just rub one out to a video. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it was. Like, I wasn't getting none. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like I was gonna be a virgin forever. I really felt like I was gonna be a virgin forever, man. I really felt like, man, I'm an incel, man. Fuck, man. I never thought I'd be like this. And then, as I was going to community college, I met a female, and she was in the same class as me. We sat right next to each other, and we just ended up building a rapport with each other. And one random day, we just ended up linking up, going to get something to eat. I don't remember really the details of how it happened, but it was definitely a thing of her having interest in me for sure. It was high interest. And she was a pretty girl. She was about a 7 out of 10, black chick, you know what I'm saying? Real pretty, you know what I'm saying? Real decent. And we was vibing, you know what I'm saying? I had a car, she had a car. We went to Jersey Mike's. We went to Jersey Mike's. We got a little meal or two. She bought her own food. I bought my own food. We sat in there and ate. And after we finished eating, At the time, I'm just going with the flow, everything. I'm not really expecting I'm gonna get some pussy. Like, I'm not expecting that. I'm just thinking I'm just hanging out with a girl, you know what I'm saying? She think I'm probably cool enough to hang out with. I'm not thinking of myself that she looking at me like a piece of meat on a steak. And before you know it, we finished eating. We went back to my car. We was in the car just talking, playing a little music, and before you know it, nigga, we was just kissing and touching and went to the back seat. And by the grace of God, I had a pack of condoms back there. Cause I ain't gonna lie to you, I probably would have hit her shit. I would have probably hit her shit raw. Cause at this moment, man, I don't think I would have. I don't think I would have turned her down. You gotta understand, I'm a virgin at the time. This is my first time. I don't think she even knows this. But it went down. By the grace of God, I had a pack of condoms back there, and it happened so fast. It was one of those things where I was like, wow, this really just happened. I mean, it didn't last that long, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we was in the back of the parking lot. So once I did what I did, and I'm like, first time, I'm like, holy shit, this is real. Went at it again. We did it about twice. We did it twice. It was decent. You know what I'm saying? I had a good time. I mean, shit. I mean, I'm guessing she had a good time too, because we kept messing around after that. And we actually became kind of like, I guess you could say boyfriend and girlfriend, low key, but really not really, because I kind of felt like, yeah, I was just kind of sprung a little bit. I thought she was my girl, but really she was just a girl that I was just cracking. But anyway, the whole point of it is, I would have never expected that day to be the day I lost my V card. I never expected that day to be the day that I was going to finally get with a female for the first time sexually. Up until that point, I'm watching Korn beating my shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm just one of those late bloomer incel dudes that's gonna be just a dude that females just find cool to hang out with and just be friends with. I'm not thinking to myself like, today is gonna be the day that I'm about to crack my first pair of cheeks. You know what I'm saying? And it just happened. And after that, it's like everything opened up for me. Like, with women at least, like everything opened up. It was almost like I had unlocked the door to Pandora's box. Like, everything started to flow. Every female after that, I'm not saying I got with, but it was so much easier to get to that point with a female. It was almost as if I knew what to do. I knew what to say. I knew how to go about certain situations with certain females. It's like something just clicked. And it's like the momentum of just that first body carried on to the next female and the next female. And after a while, I was having a little motion. Like, it wasn't crazy motion, because I'm still trying to find my confidence and where I fit in terms of like who I am in this space of just being a guy that's sexually active now. But I definitely had a level of confidence to be like, I could get there with a female. And then as the years progressed, I became who I am today. It's not a big thing anymore to have, intercourse with a woman, or to have a female situationship. It's not a big thing no more. But if you would have told me that this would be who I would be today, back then, I would probably wonder how, because I was so set on thinking I was an incel because I was a late bloomer to my friends. I felt, because being a late bloomer, that I was never going to ever catch up or ever get enough experience or opportunities to be able to develop, myself in those areas as a man. But I had to go through that random experience with that chick that I met in my class. The whole time, looking back, she was feeling me the whole time. There was so many situations that I overlooked because I didn't think I was that guy. And then she took it upon herself. Like, she wanted to get something to eat. You know what I'm saying? She made the initiative to, kiss me first in the car and grab on my meat and us go into the back seat. Like, she made all the moves. I'm not going to lie to you. She took control. The first girl I ever got with took control. And that really showed me sometimes, man, like, some females just been waiting for you to make a move, but it's just you don't got no experience, so you don't know what to look for, what to see. So they get frustrated with it, and they just be like, "Fuck it, I'm about to just walk this nigga through it, because I don't know if he know that I'm trying to crack." Like, it be like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit, some females really ain't playing. When they see something that they want, they gonna go for it. But after that, I became more of the dominant, person in that situation, where I would be the one pursuing. I'll be the one leading into that situation. Obviously, if it was mutual, But it took me having to get walked through there my first time with a chick that was a little older than me that knew what she was doing. You know what I'm saying? To make those first moves, for me to realize that it's that I possessed us. I possessed something. I possessed something that she found attractive enough to get with. You know, but it was all about timing. It happened when it was going to happen. I didn't rush it. I didn't plan it. It just happened. A lot of you guys out there that are late bloomers, some of y'all in y'all late 20s that are still a virgin. Look, man, I know a lot of times the world would deem you as a lame, a loser, but I'm gonna tell you something. It's just an act that two people have, man and woman, that is a natural thing. It is not a big deal if you are still a virgin in your late 20s. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're not going out there putting yourself out there in terms of being around women. If you're just locking yourself in your room all your 20s, you deserve to be a virgin in your late 20s. You're not even trying. But if you're actively trying and it's just not clicking for you yet, man, don't think that you're an incel. I know a lot of guys think they don't look that good or they don't think they're that attractive. I used to think that when I was younger. I never thought I was an overly chopped dude, but I never felt like I matched up to the certain guys that I saw that was getting certain women. So I never looked at myself as a guy that could really have my way based off of just physically how I felt that I looked. But another thing is like I grew into my looks. I grew into myself as a man. And sometimes a lot of guys grow into their looks. That's a real thing. Some guys don't start off just a natural pretty boy or a natural Tyrone, Chad looking dude. Like some dudes start off looking like Urkel. I wasn't Urkel, but I was a regular black dude. I didn't really stand out for real. And it's like, a lot of things, just growing up, growing into your body, growing a little facial hair, putting a little muscle mass on, dressing a little bit more urban. Like a lot of different things changed over the years for me. So as I got older, it became a lot more easier to really fall into the character of who I truly am when it comes to me as a man. My physical matched how I acted mentally. You know what I'm saying? And just vice versa. Like sometimes you have to grow into yourself. And a lot of guys, I think they're incels. They think that they'll never ever be a guy that will ever have their way or ever have a girlfriend or ever have options. Look, bro. There are some men out there that are very unfortunately not really equipped that well in a lot of areas, and they truly could and can be a guy that probably will never have a partner or ever have a chance to have a real sexual experience with a woman. But 90% of these guys out here that are on these forums thinking they incels, thinking they subhuman guys, thinking that, they don't look that good, they'll never have a woman. A lot of these guys, man, have not grown into themselves yet. A lot of these guys haven't put an ounce of work into themselves yet. You're not getting women off of the looks. You need to be working on yourself internally, because at the end of the day, you can look good, but if your insides, if you feel like you're an ugly person on the inside, it don't matter how good you look, it's going to exude on the outside of you based on your mannerisms, your body language, how you talk, your body language, everything. It's going to show. And she's going to get turned off by that. And that could stop you from being a guy that can have your way because your confidence ain't there. You got the looks, but you got the mindset of a guy that's an incel. So there's a lot of levels to it, man. It's a lot of levels to it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of men need to really look at everything from a broad perspective. There got to be something about you that's elite. There got to be something about you that stands out, but you're going to have to be the one to highlight it. And you're going to have to be the one to lead with that. As you, not material possessions. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about you. But again, like I say, I used to think that I was never going to be a guy that was going to have his way. And I turned into a guy modestly, had his way after a while. But it's all about timing, and everybody's road and journey and segues and different things happens at different paces and different times. Some guys start early getting chicks, early having sex, early having girlfriends. Some dudes start hella late, late 20s, first girlfriend, first kiss, lose a V card, everything. Like everything for some guys starts late, but that's just what it is. So with that being said, it's just a realization that I had at that age of being 18, going on 19, that it was going to happen when it was going to happen. And sometimes you got to understand that it's going to happen at its own pace. It ain't just about getting with a chick. That's not the pinnacle of life. But a lot of men, I know we put it on a pedestal. And I get it. I know how it feels to be in the house. You want to have that intimacy. You want to have a woman by your side, but you just don't have the resources. So you rely on what you know. And at that time period in my life, I relied on my right hand in corn videos. And I wasn't an addict, but I was damn near every other day just regularly just taking care of myself. You know what I'm saying? And I don't feel shameful of that because a lot of men go through this stage. Some dudes in their late 20s are still in this stage. So I know what it is. But I'm gonna tell you this. There's a slither of hope that is just a timing thing. It's an energy thing. Sometimes it's a deep spiritual thing, you know? Some guys have, the spirit of rejection on them. And again, that is a whole different video, man. But a lot of times some dudes, man, they just been rejected so many times in their life. Now they have this energy, this veil around them that, they just have this repulsive energy when they're around women. And women just naturally just don't like attract to them. And that's a deep spiritual hole that's on a lot of men. But I don't want men to feel like they are always going to be this guy that's going to be just sexless forever. You're not an incel, bro. It just hasn't happened yet. And then once it happens, instantly you're not a guy that's a virgin. You're instantly not a guy that's never had none. You're instantly a guy that lost your V card. You're instantly a guy that actually pleased a woman for the first time. It ain't that big of a deal, bro. Once it happens, it's not a big deal. Once you do it after a while and it becomes a regular thing, it's like waking up, brushing your teeth, taking a piss. It's one of those things that it's just part of life. But it don't mean that just because it took you a while to get there, or it may take you a while to get there, that you'll never get there. Sometimes you gotta just be patient. But at the end of the day, I've been there and done that. And I know how it feels, man. But like I say, sometimes it can just happen. You just become a dude that wasn't having no motion to a guy that just can't pick. It's too many. So, food for thought.